Welcome inside another edition of NAHL Central Intelligence. My name is TJ Chillot, voice of the Austin Bruins. Happy to have you alongside as we take a look back at the culmination of the regular season, which wrapped up this past weekend, and as we also look forward to the two big playoff matchups in the Central Division, which are slated to begin this weekend. In addition, we're going to hear some interviews from across the division, and we're going to take a look at some of the top plays from this past weekend. Before we can go ahead and take a look at the upcoming playoff matchups, let's turn the clock back and take a look at the matchups that already occurred this past weekend, and everything kicked off on Thursday night with the Minnesota Wilderness playing an out-of-division game against the Chippewa Steel. The Minnesota Wilderness put up a 6 spot over the Chippewa Steel on Thursday night. 6 individual goal scorers for the Wilderness, including Christian Galatz, who had himself a big weekend. You'll see more about that here in the coming slides. But most importantly, with the win, the Minnesota Wilderness knocked the St. Cloud Norsemen out of playoff contention and really put them in the driver's seat, because going into the games on Friday night, the only way that the Austin Bruins could make the playoffs, the only other team still vying for that final spot along with the Wilderness, the only way that Austin could get into the playoffs is if they won out while the Minnesota Wilderness lost both of their remaining games. So it put the Wilderness in the driver's seat going forward. On Friday night, all 6 teams were in action, and ironically enough, for 4 of the teams, they ended up playing their opponent that is now scheduled for the upcoming first round of the playoffs. There was still plenty to battle for going into Friday night. The Austin Bruins, as I mentioned, could still sneak into that final playoff spot. All they had to do was win out while the Wilderness lost both of their remaining games. The Bruins did their part on Friday night, handing the St. Cloud Norsemen a 6-3 loss up at the St. Cloud Municipal Athletic Complex, the final home game for the Norsemen in the regular season. Despite that victory, however, the Bismarck Bobcats couldn't outlast the Minnesota Wilderness, and the Wilderness earned the victory and ultimately that final playoff spot. By the time the completion of Friday night was over, all of the playoff teams had been set, but there was still one question. Who was going to be the 4th seed? Because of the Minnesota Wilderness having won 2 consecutive games, they could have pulled into a tie with the Minot Minotauros. The Minotauros lost on Friday by a heavy amount, 10-1. The Aberdeen Wings just absolutely imposing their will on the Minot Minotauros in that victory. Nathan Vertis, what a night for him. 5 total points, including 4 goals in the game. So with the Wilderness winning and the Minot Minotauros losing, that brings us to Saturday night. On Saturday night, the game that everybody was watching was Aberdeen versus Minot. If Minot lost that game and the Minnesota Wilderness won that game, the Wilderness would be tied with the Minotauros for 3rd place in the Central Division, and by way of the tiebreaker would earn that 3rd seed. And that is exactly what happened on Saturday night, as once again the Wilderness knocked off the Bobcats, and once again the Minot Minotauros fell to the Aberdeen Wings. The 2 teams that were out of playoff contention, the Austin Bruins and St. Cloud Norsemen, well, they took out their frustrations on one another. 15 total goals in the game at Riverside Arena on Saturday night. The Bruins coming out on top in that one by a final score of 8-7. So that's what happened this past weekend in the NAHL Central Division. Once the games came to a conclusion on Saturday night, the final playoff seeding and teams were set. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final standings for the 2020-21 NAHL Central Division regular season. All season long, everything started and ended with the Aberdeen Wings, who ultimately were the best team in all of the North American Hockey League this year. Not only did they set a league record for wins with 51 on the year, by virtue of that, they also set a league record in most amount of points in a single season with 103. That powerful, dominating performance earned them not only the number 1 seed in the Central Division, but of course, they were the best team in the league all year long. In 2nd place, the Bismarck Bobcats, who they're going to go into their playoff matchup with the Minnesota Wilderness limping after losing those back-to-back games against that very same Minnesota Wilderness team. Minnesota locked up the 3rd playoff seed by pulling into a tie with the Minot Minotaurs thanks to their 3 big wins on the weekend. And due to that tiebreaker, Minnesota, a team that to start the weekend very well could have missed out on the playoffs altogether, not only made the playoffs, but they earned the 3rd seed and forced Minot back into the 4th seed. The Austin Bruins finished out their year with 4 consecutive victories over the St. Cloud Norsemen, and they had points in 6 consecutive games coming up to the final portion of the regular season. As for the St. Cloud Norsemen, they had lost their final 4 games going head-to-head with the Austin Bruins both weekends these past 2 weeks. On the whole, though, for the St. Cloud Norsemen, this is certainly not a season to hang your head about. Everybody remembers the St. Cloud Blizzard from last season, and previous to that, the Brookings Blizzard. Those games seemed like almost automatic W's as teams steamrolled them and pushed them down into the basement and ultimately eliminated them by the time January, February came around in regards to playoff contention. This was a St. Cloud Norsemen team that fought to the final weekend, and they were still mathematically in the race up until Thursday, just 2 games before the end of their regular season. Talk about a turnaround year up in St. Cloud for the Norsemen. Now that we know how the teams did this past weekend, let's go ahead and take a look at the individual who won the NAHL Central Division First Star of the Week. As if there was any doubt, the first star of the week this week goes to Nathan Vertis, the forward from the Aberdeen Wings. Vertis, an Alaska Fairbanks commit at 20 years old, put up 6 total points on the weekend, including 4 goals and 2 assists. Vertis was 4th on the team in scoring with 47 total points in 56 games played during the regular season. The Hungarian-born player is set and ready to go for the playoffs for the best team in the NAHL all season long. So, before we get you to those playoff previews, we're going to go ahead and take a look back at some of the interviews that my broadcasting cohorts here in the Central Division performed earlier this week. And we're going to kick things off with Mark Shelley of the St. Cloud Norsemen. He sat down and talked with Paxton Geisel, the young goaltender committed to Denver University. I'll tell you what, I had the pleasure of watching Paxton Geisel here these last couple weeks as the Bruins and St. Cloud Norsemen went head-to-head 4 times. Paxton Geisel getting in every single one of those games, and boy, does he have a bright future ahead of him. Mark, why don't you guys take it away?
Thanks a lot, TJ. Mark Shelley here, and I'm here with Norseman goaltender Paxton Geisel. And Paxton, the season has come to an end, unfortunately for you guys, not when you wanted it to come to an end, but when you look back on this season as a whole for the Norsemen, knowing where they were before you and this whole crew got there this season, and to come away and have the successes that you did have, what do you take away from the season saying these were the successful parts?
Yeah, well, obviously, it was a weird year with all the starts and stops due to COVID, and we battled through some adversity. That's for sure. That's a good way to come out of it. And we, last year I think the whole team only won 10 wins, so we definitely got past that. And it's good. It builds a future for this organization. It's something to build off going forward.
And in those wins that you guys had this year, and really through all those games with those starts and stops, this was a tough year for you to start your rookie season in the North American Hockey League. You get sort of thrown in, and your team sort of builds out in front of you. You see a lot of different guys come and go. Even some of the goaltenders that you were partnered with for the Norsemen come and go over the season before this final roster that you guys looked at came together, at the window. At the deadline. What was that like, sitting there going, okay, not only is there the typical sort of turnover that we see in a North American Hockey League season, but also there's all these starts and stops, and we're playing for 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden we're off for a whole month.
Yeah, it was definitely different, especially for me. I'm not used to that, but there's one point where I got to go home because we got shut down, and I had to be back in Bismarck for that 18-day road trip. All the stops and starts, it gave us some time actually to reset, especially when we started off rough. So we got to reset after that, and we came back. We went 3-2 on that road trip, so that obviously helped us build going forward. So it actually, in hindsight, wasn't too bad for us. And meeting all those new guys constantly, it's it kind of throws off the dynamic. But obviously, once we got that whole roster finalized, we started playing really good. And obviously injuries affected that, but overall we came out pretty good after that.
Well, let's talk about you here, Paxton. You came through a lot of big times for the Norsemen this season, called upon early in the season, and then obviously later down the season you got a lot more reps sort of as that push for the playoffs came, as you guys were sort of turned things around and all of a sudden gave yourself a chance to fight for a playoff spot. You ultimately hit 40 games in your rookie season in the North American Hockey League. Talk to me about what playing 40 games is like for a 17-year-old goaltender, and at one point 16 years old.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's actually a lot of fun. I'm used to 6U hockey, traveling, so we played every 2 weeks on the weekend, 3 games, 5 games. But playing almost every week, night in and night out, it's actually really fun. It's not too bad on the body, but once you get in that rhythm, you can ride with it and have some fun, and that's all about, just having fun and trying to win games.
And finally, Paxton, before we let you go here, because I know it's off-season time, and as you mentioned, playing those 40 games, it can be a grind on you. So we're going to let you go here so you can continue to get some rest. But when you look back at this season, what is the one thing you will take away and remember about COVID, positive or negative? But we're trying to stay positive here, about playing for the Norsemen through this COVID season and ultimately having the season go off and finally be able to play all 56 games.
Yeah, it's a lot. Probably just to stick with everything. I mean, everything got tough at one point, so sticking with it and in the process really was something that really came through for me this year. Luckily, our goalie coach Pete, he's a wise guy, so he helped a lot with keeping me staying focused and the team focused too.
Well, Paxton, congratulations on a great campaign for you, all 40 of those games, putting up some great numbers, and best of luck next season. And we're going to send it back to you, TJ.
Thank you, Mark and Paxton. We're going to go ahead and keep things here right in the great state of Minnesota. Let's go on up to Cloquet, where Carrie Sandell is meeting with Dante Lawson. Guys, take it away.
Hey, thanks, TJ. I am here with Dante Lawson of the Minnesota Wilderness. How are you doing tonight, Dante?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. So you guys had a big weekend of hockey here this past weekend, 3 wins in a row, Chippewa, and then 2 against Bismarck to clinch that third spot, playoff spot. How did that feel for you guys to get those 3 wins?
Oh, that was really big for us, actually, battling with St. Cloud and Austin. And we knew those 3 games are must-win games, and we got it done. And getting that 3rd seed was just a cherry on top.
Absolutely. You had 4 points on the weekend, so congratulations on that. Awesome job. So you were with Minot for a little bit. What is it like to go then and play Minot now that you're with the Wilderness?
It's actually kind of nice because now that I know all the guys over there, it's fun playing against them and getting under each other's skin, I guess. But they're a good group of guys over there, and I like battling them every time we got to play them.
Yeah. Does it give you a little bit of an extra buzz going out on the ice?
Oh, for sure. Going out against the guys that you've played, especially the team that you got traded from. And it's just, It's fun going back and playing against them.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you live with Dane Stoyanov, number 6 defenseman on the team. What's your favorite meal that Mr. and Mrs. Stoyanov make?
Probably some steak and potatoes with a side of salad. It's a go-to over there.
Who makes that, Mr. and Mrs. Stoyanov?
Mrs. Stoyanov makes that.
Mrs. Stoyanov makes a killer steak and potatoes. I like it. Hey, Dante, you guys have your first round of playoffs coming up here this weekend, so best of luck. And thank you so much for joining us. We will talk to you soon. And back to you, TJ.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Dante. That was Dante Lawson, the Bemidji State commit with the Minnesota Wilderness, the 3rd seed Minnesota Wilderness going into the playoffs this weekend. Without any further ado, let's go ahead and toss it down to Aberdeen and our old friend Jay Kleinknecht, who's sitting with perhaps the biggest name this past weekend in the Central Division, the first star of the week, thanks to his 6 points, Nathan Vertis.
Thanks, TJ. Well, for the Aberdeen Wings portion of Central Intelligence, I've got Nathan Vertis joining me. I appreciate you coming on and letting people see a little behind the visor, so to speak, Nathan.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. Well, a strong weekend. You finish out the regular season. Of course, we all know that a regular season doesn't mean anything once the playoff starts, but it was nice to kind of stop and smell the roses, so to speak, yesterday for the awards banquet as the Wings ended up breaking the North American Hockey League records with 51 wins and 103 points. That, like we said, the regular season is behind us now. We move forward, but that was pretty cool and awesome to have the team get together and kind of be honored by a group of fans. A whole big group of them, actually, for the achievements this year. What does it mean to you guys as a group to finish out the regular season the way you did, sweeping Minot and breaking that record?
You know, it means a lot to us as a group because we put the work in to win this regular season, but we're not done yet, and we need 9 more wins. So that's our goal, and we'll do everything to achieve this goal.
Sure. Well, and like I mentioned, I mean, we all know the regular season doesn't mean a whole lot, but it's kind of nice, really nice, when you can break some records and put your name in a spot in history, so to speak. One of the things I wanted to talk with you a little about is your attitude overall of playing the game of hockey, your relationship with fans and so on. But the very first game I saw you play in the showcase in Blaine, 2 years ago now, well, a little more than that, you scored a goal and rode your stick, and then the next time it was using a stick like a fishing rod, and I thought, well, he's got a lot of character, but that may not sit well with some teams, or thinking that it's kind of taunting and so on. But as I've gotten to know you and your attitude and approach to the game, it really isn't that, is it? It's not that you're taunting. You just have a lot of fun. You just like to celebrate.
You know, when I score a goal, I'm really happy, and it's not because I want the other team to feel bad. It's just because I'm so happy, and I have fun, and I just show it to the fans and everyone that, hey, I have the most fun out of here. So. And
you mentioned something. There's a quote about the surfer who.
So there's this saying that the best surfer out there is the one having the most fun. And this weekend on Friday, I scored 4 goals, so I think I had the most fun on the ice.
Yeah, and and talking about your relationship with the fans, you mentioned it on the on ice interview with Megan, talking about how much it means to have them supporting you and that you're giving them, something in return in a sense, and they can kind of pick up on how much fun you're having out there. And I think it's cool to see the reaction from the fans and how much they appreciate the effort, certainly in the games, but just in that positive attitude. Pretty cool, and it means a lot to you too, doesn't it?
The fans, the love what they give me, it means a lot because because of the COVID situation, I couldn't go home for Christmas. I've been here since August, and they're like a family for me, and I appreciate the love what they show me, and I want to give back to the fans something when I score a goal and I show them that I have fun. I want to just give back something to them for the love they give me.
Excellent. Well, we've seen the fishing rod kind of selly, but you tell me that that's got a little special meaning now, because now that it's nice out, you guys are able to go fishing, and you're quite the angler, it sounds like, quite the fisherman, huh?
Of course. So with some teammates, we're going to fishing every day after every practice, and I catch the most fish. So I told them that I'm the best fisherman in Aberdeen. So if I score a goal this weekend, I'm gonna do a fishing celebration. That was fun.
The best fisherman in Aberdeen. There you go. We're not that big of a town, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a few out there that would question that a little bit. All right. Well, Nathan, obviously, like we talked about, moving on to the playoffs, and that's when things heat up. I mean, playoff hockey is intense, and everybody's laying everything on the line. What do you think you've got to do? You mentioned to me earlier that you guys kind of have a saying that is, that you're ready, and that's all you can be, really. You've got to be prepared, and that week of preparation means a lot, doesn't it?
We'll do everything for our goal to achieve that. We want the ring on our fingers, so we're ready for everything. We're ready for everyone, and we want to win the Robbie Cup.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's all you can do is prepare the right way and be ready and lay it all out there. So look forward to see how the weekend goes against the Minotauros again, who the Wings will face at home this weekend. So again, I appreciate you coming on, though, Nate, and getting everybody a chance to get to know you a little bit off the ice, so to speak. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, that's our portion of Central Intelligence. Back to you, TJ.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Nathan. Let's go ahead and keep things in the Dakotas. We're going to go a little bit further north to Minot and meet with Peter Theodos. He's got Cade Stibbe. Guys, take it away.
Thanks, TJ. I'm here with Toros forward Cade Stibbe. And Stibbe, last year with everything going on and the Toros making the playoffs this year, this is going to be your first experience in the Robbie playoffs. How excited are you for this?
Yeah, I'm super excited. Obviously, last year getting canceled, we were all really disappointed. So this year getting to play in the playoffs is really exciting.
The Toros are going to go into the playoffs this year as a 4 seed, and we're going to face Aberdeen in the first round. What's going to be the game plan going in against them?
We're just going to stick to what we've been doing all year, and that's just forechecking hard, getting back hard, and just playing the game simple.
You're from Fargo, North Dakota, and you got a bunch of friends, whether it was this year with Jay Boot Goltz or last year with Jay also and Kyler Clevin. What's it been like playing for the Toros, but also playing with some of the friends that you've known growing up and playing against and with?
Yeah, me and Jay and I have played together for a long time, and it's we played on the same line actually for a while too. So just getting to play on the same line as him this year again is really fun. We have good chemistry together, and same with Kostelecki. I played against him in the Elite League, and I feel like we just have really good chemistry together. You came in a little late after playing in Fargo for a little bit. Jay was in Sioux Falls, and then you guys both obviously came back and played this year. How excited were you to have him come back and be able to finish out his junior career with him? Yeah, it was really exciting when I found out that he was coming back, and it's just really special to be able to, kind of finish out his junior career with him, and because we've been playing together for so long, it's really a unique thing that we get to do.
You have your commit. You're committed to Arizona State. What made you decide to go there?
The coaches are. I really like the coaches. Obviously it's a really nice place to play, and they're just a new and upcoming program, and they've been having a lot of success. So, I'm just really excited to get there.
Any idea what you're going to major in yet?
I'm thinking business.
Business? All right. Another Toros teammate, you mentioned him a little bit earlier, Tyler Kostelecki, also committed to Arizona State. How fun has it been kind of to work with him out on the ice to kind of form a little chemistry that you guys can hopefully take into Arizona State? Yeah,
it's been really fun. We didn't really, we knew each other, but not super well. And then we just played together for a game, and we just clicked, and we've just been playing really well together ever since. So.
I mentioned you're from Fargo, which is only about 5 or so hours from Minot. How good has it been to kind of have your parents to be close to home, but also have a little bit of distance between them?
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously, not everyone gets to play 4 hours away from their house, so being in Minot and being close to home is really, really big.
Plus, Fargo's kind of in the middle point between Minot, obviously, and the teams in Minnesota, so you're one of the lucky ones also that gets to have his parents come and watch him play when we play St. Cloud, Austin, and Croquet. How good is it also to be able to see your parents on the road?
Yeah, it's really, really good to see them, and they're always supporting me, and I love when they're at games. It's just kind of gives me a little boost.
All right, a couple last things here. As we wrap up this season, you're finishing up your second year with the Toros. What's been your favorite types of bus snack foods that you will take on the bus with you for the long road trips?
I'd probably just say like trail mix, just almonds and nuts and M&Ms and chocolate, I guess. I don't know.
What's been the best bus movie you guys have watched?
I don't know. I'm kind of a show guy. I tend to watch shows. So.
What kind of shows do you watch?
I've been watching Shameless lately. So.
Okay. A little bit about you personally. What's your favorite types of foods?
I like steak, fruits and vegetables. I'd say my favorite food is probably steak.
All right. So this year the Toros had 3 different jerseys: the tan home jerseys, the red away jerseys, and the 10-year jerseys. Which jersey do you like wearing the most?
I'd say I like wearing the 10 years. Yeah.
All right, there you have it. Back to you, TJ.
Thank you, Peter and Cade. Let's go ahead and keep it right there in North Dakota. Let's throw things to the voice of the Bobcats, Andrew Weiss. Andrew, who do you got with you?
Thanks, TJ. I'm here with Bobcats forward Patrick Johnson. Patty, your Bobcats getting ready for the playoffs. It's finally here after a long season. You'll be taking on the Minnesota Wilderness this Friday and Saturday night at home. It's been a good back-and-forth battle between Minnesota and the Bobcats this season. What are you expecting first impressions this weekend?
Yeah, I think all the boys are excited for playoffs to start finally. It's been a long year and a long time coming, and we've earned our second-place spot, so home ice. We're all looking forward to playing in front of our fans. It'll be a really good series against the Wilderness. We've been back and forth with them all year, so I think we're just all excited to get started.
And you mentioned playing in front of the home crowd. Obviously, it's a great feeling knowing that you have home ice locked up for the first round of the postseason. What does it mean for you guys to be in front of your fans and knowing that that crowd's going to have your back for 2 games this weekend?
Yeah, it means everything. I mean, throughout this rough year with COVID and everything, we've struggled a little bit with getting fans, but I think now everything's kind of loosened up a little bit. So we're excited to hopefully get in a full barn here, and I mean, can't beat it, playoff hockey, so it'll be good.
The Wilderness have had a few wins over you guys the last few weeks. You've had a few wins as well. It's been a good battle like we've talked about. What does Minnesota do that you guys have to counter this weekend?
Yeah, I think they move the puck really well. Their power play is very good, so I think if we limit their power play opportunities, we'll be in good shape.
Bobcats and Wilderness getting set for a 2-game series this weekend at the VFW Sports Center. You can catch those games on Hockey TV or Super Talk 1270, or get your tickets at BismarckBobcats.com. Back to you, TJ.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Patrick, for that. That will go ahead and conclude all of our interviews for this week, but we're not done yet. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 playoff matchups coming up this weekend. It all starts off with the number 1 seed, Aberdeen Wings, hosting the number 4 seed, Minot Minotauros. The Central Division semifinals, a best-of-5 series, will begin on Friday night in Aberdeen with a 7:15 p.m. start. They'll do the same thing again on Saturday, the 22nd of May, again a 7:15 p.m. start. Then the series is going to flip on over to Minot, 7:05 start on Thursday, May 27th. If necessary, the 2 teams will play on Friday night in Minot for a Game 4. And if Game 5 is necessary, there will be an off day on Saturday, May 29th, and Sunday, May 30th, the 5th and final game of that series will conclude in Aberdeen with a 7:15 p.m. start. As we take a look at the regular season between these 2 teams, Aberdeen won the battle 10-2-0-0. And when you look at that, you kind of think, oh man, Aberdeen is just going to run away with this series. But when you realize that the Wings didn't have any more than 2 losses this season to any particular team other than Minot, all of a sudden, this game is going to be a lot tighter than you might imagine. Forget about this past weekend and the fact that the Aberdeen Wings ultimately outscored the Minotauros by a total of 14-2. The playoffs are now. Things are going to change. This is going to be a very tight series. Keep an eye on scorers Tyler Kostelecki for Minot and, of course, Nathan Vertus. Those 2 players lead their respective teams in points against their round 1 opponents. The number 2 seed Bismarck Bobcats will play host this weekend to the number 3 seed Minnesota Wilderness. Both of those games are set to start at 7:15 from the VFW Sports Center in Bismarck, North Dakota. Again, this is a series in which one of the teams is coming off a sweep of the other team less than 1 week ago. That's right, the Minnesota Wilderness taking down the Bismarck Bobcats 2 games this past weekend. But in total, it is Bismarck who does have the lead in the series in this one, 4-3-1-0. As you can see from the top scorers that are listed on your screen there, not a lot of guys with outstanding scoring in these 2 matchups. Ben Trombley with a goal and 4 assists for 5 points. On the other side, Christian Galatz with 5 goals and no assists. Most of his damage done this past weekend. It's been a very even scoring table for the Bismarck Bobcats and Minnesota Wilderness. Going to be a tough, nail-biting battle, and if I had to put my money on which one of these 2 semifinal series is going to go to a Game 5, my money is right here on the Minnesota Wilderness and Bismarck Bobcats. And remember, fans, there is nothing like Robertson Cup Playoff hockey. So be sure to get your Hockey TV subscription and tune in and watch both of these fantastic series as the semifinals get underway this coming weekend. If you don't have a Hockey TV subscription, you can sign up for one, www.hockeytv.com. All of the broadcasters in this division travel, so you'll have your choice of voices, whether it's Andrew Weiss in Bismarck or Marty Hill with the Minnesota Wilderness or Jay Kleinknecht with the Aberdeen Wings or Ken Oda, the voice of the Minot Minotauros. Be sure to tune in and root for the team that you hope advances from the Central Division. That'll do it for us here on this week's edition of NAHL Central Intelligence. Before we leave you, we've got the plays of the week from last weekend just to get you salivating and ready to go as playoff hockey is right around the corner, only days away. My name is TJ Chillot, voice of the Austin Bruins. We'll talk to you all next week on NAHL Central Intelligence. Have a great weekend, everybody, and enjoy that playoff hockey.
First penalties is a chance in front, but it's broken up. Here's a score by the Wilderness at the other end as pulling it out of the corner as Gavin Rasmussen comes in. And Gavin Rasmussen scores for the Wilderness to restore that 2-goal lead. Here's Wilderness come up with that rink-wide pass. Is a chance for Galotz coming in. Galotz moving in and shot, and he scores! Christian Galotz picks the upper right-hand corner, and the Wilderness are on the board. As the Wilderness get a breakout pass to Galotz, he turns on the Jets, and Christian Galotz, like he used to do here for Cloquet-Ansco Carleton, lights the lamp for the Wilderness to put them in front 1-0. Goal, Rasmussen's pass is wide of the mark. Pushing it ahead, here's a chance for the Wilderness. They score! Great shot there. Didn't catch the number of the player, but we will find out who that is, as I think it was Christian Galotz, if I am looking at this correctly.
Here's Carson Riddle looking for a saucer pass, finds Brooks, he's out in front, Brooks backhand chance, he scores! Barrett Brooks with his third goal in his last 2 games, and the Austin Bruins jump out in front.
And 16 seconds left of the power play. Side of the net, shot and goal! Power play goal for Nathan Verdes. 3-1 Wings on the Avera Orthopedic scoreboard. And now taken away by Verdes. Verdes skating in 1-0. He's got a man going with him. Backdoor pass, shot, goal! 12:51 left in the second, and it's now 5-1. Out to Napier. Shot from the blue line, save made, and rebound put in. Is that Verdes? Yep, that's Verdes' hat trick. 40.9 left of the second period, and Nathan Verdes with his third of the game. He's on the move. Abrams, cross ice for Verdes. Verdes shoots, it's off the crossbar and in. Is that Verdes' 4th goal? Verdes shot, high slot, hits the crossbar, bounces down, and yes, the Minot goaltender actually kicked it in backwards. Cosentino cross ice for Verdes with a shot, and it's in! 18:48 on the clock here in the first period, and Nathan Verdes' 5th goal of the weekend. 3rd shot on goal. Verdes had saved for Rancier, but then it rolled across the line.